Welcome to episode 4 of Mind Sharing. I am Michael O'Doran, and this is chapter 10, Meeting a Navajo Cop. Stewart and Sheryl settled into bed early, and Stewart quickly fell asleep. His dreams seemed almost normal, but the main subject was still Tony. Tony's night was back at the organ transplant delivery waiting room. He sat all night without a single delivery. At the end of his shift, he went home and went straight to bed, allowing Stewart to sleep better. Stewart woke up around 9, again to Sheryl, again at the kitchen table. He had fallen into her routine: coffee, then breakfast out, then it was time to visit the nation's police department. With the top down on the Jeep, the ride to the Twin Arrows Casino substation was less than a half an hour. When they arrived at the desk officer was kind and courteous. "Good morning, folks. Is there something we can help you with?" Sheryl responded, "Hello, we'd like to talk to Lieutenant She, please. Do you have an appointment?" "No, I'm sorry we don't," she answered. "Is this an urgent matter? Because Lieutenant She isn't in right now," the man behind the desk answered. Sheryl continued nervously, "Well, he helped me with a recent case, and I kind of know him. I suppose we can talk to another detective or officer. Might I ask what this is in regard to so that I can give you to the right person?" Sheryl spoke up again. "Well, officer, sorry, ma'am, I'm Sergeant Yazzie." "Oh, sorry, Sergeant. Well, I'm Sheryl Benally. I was married to Dr. Hania Benally. Some called him Dr. Henry. He was murdered a month ago, and my brother here came to visit me. Since Hania was a medicine man, I still had his books. I cooked up some peyote for his attitude. It was a legal concoction, and it did something weird for my brother." "Stop right there. You made peyote?" Sheryl confidently answered, "Yes." "I think you should stop. You're tiptoeing on a slippery slope. Doing the work of a medicine man might be illegal," the sergeant warned. "If it is, I'll take my punishment, but what I'm about to tell you is far more concerning." "Okay, then proceed." "I want to caution you, though. I may be able to use it against you." Looking concerned, he said. Stewart stepped in and began, "Excuse me, sir, I'm not going to allow my sister to implicate herself, so allow me to tell you the issue." "That's fine, sir. What's your name?" "Me? My name is Stuart Miller. I'm visiting from New Jersey. I've been having some very strange dreams." The sergeant looked down and took a deep breath. "You see, my sister helped me. I've been seeing the same person and basically watching his life. I have to tell you, it's very real." "I'm sure it is. Can you get to the point?" He took a deep breath as the sergeant's tone heated, his blood slightly. "I witnessed a quadruple homicide in my dreams night before last. We checked yesterday, and in fact the dream was real and the people are dead." Rudely, the sergeant replied, "So now you're somehow clairvoyant." "Right. The family was involved in a home explosion, and I saw it all." "Just where was this illegal home explosion, and why are you coming here?" Annoyed, Stewart continued, "We came to you because you likely believe in the works of a medicine man and spiritual events of some of the procedures. We thought if we go to the Chicago police, they would laugh at us. We expected more from you." "This happened in Chicago." "Well, sir, that is way out of our jurisdiction. I can't really help you with that," he said as he began to move away from the desk. Sheryl chimed in. "We're hoping you might give us some advice." "Oh, I have some advice. It is go home or go somewhere other than here and not tell anyone in law enforcement about this. Now, if there isn't anything else, I would hope that you would please leave me." He turned and tried to leave the room. "Well, Sergeant, thank you for your time. Might I just ask that you have Lieutenant She call me when he's free?" Sheryl finished. She gave him her name and phone number, and they left. The sergeant turned around and watched them as they walked out. Then he went over to a desk, sat, and brought Google up. He did a search for home explosions in Chicago and found one that occurred in Oak Park, Illinois, a suburb of Chicago. He saw that 4 people perished and that the police didn't expect foul play. Then he saw that an adjacent story about a car fire in the same vicinity around the same time. He picked up the phone and dialed Lieutenant She's number. "Hello, She here. Lieutenant, this is Yazzie at Twin Arrows." "Yeah, Sergeant, what's up?" "How's Chinoa and the kids?" "They're well. Kids are a handful, as you might expect. How are yours, Yassi? Answered, smiling. About the same. What you got? She asked. Yassi started. You know the late Dr. Hania Ben Ali? Some called him Dr. Henry and his wife Sheryl. Oh, yeah, great people. I cannot tell you how many times that man saved my life and the lives of my family, she said gratefully. Yassi continued. Well, Sheryl Ben Ali was just here with her brother, Stewart Miller, from New Jersey. Seems she gave him some peyote and did some prayers, and it opened up some sort of portal in his mind, and now he sees crimes in Chicago. I'd say it was far-fetched if I didn't know him personally, she interrupted. Puzzled, Yassi asked, You know this Stewart guy? No, I mean Sheryl and Henry. If Sheryl says it happened, it happened, Yassi continued. Well, I went online and checked. Yes, a home exploded in Chicago. So far, they have ruled it an accident with a gas leak. What did this Stewart guy tell you? He said he witnessed a guy kill the family. He said, questioning his own response. She responded, I think I need to talk to that Stewart. Do you have his phone number? No, but I have Sheryl's. I have Sheryl's. I'll call her and set up a meeting. Thanks for this. I'll take care of it from here, the lieutenant said. Copy that, sir. Talk soon. You take care of that family, and I'll see you at the picnic next weekend. Right. We'll be there, yes, he said, smiling. The lieutenant called Sheryl. Hello, Sheryl. This is... Hi, Lieutenant. I thought you would get back to me. Yes, can I meet your brother, say at 4 at the Roadhouse? You're coming down here? Sheryl asked. Of course. I never miss a chance to go to the Roadhouse, she said with a grin. Okay, yeah, see you then. She ended the call, turned to Stewart. Looks like the lieutenant's going to meet us after all, at 4 this afternoon. I wanted you to see the Roadhouse anyway. It's a place where you can grill your own meat right there in the dining room. It's very cool. The Route 66 Roadhouse is the whole name. Seriously, will they grill it for me? Yes, it's optional. So if I get this straight, all there is to do around these parts is eat and drink. Pretty much, lest we go four-wheeling. Wanna? Why not? Let's do it. Sheryl turned on a dirt road, made a few more turns, and they were rock climbing before they knew it. After a few hours in the sun, they went back to the clinic to get cleaned up. Stewart took an eventless nap, and then at 3:30, they were on their way to the Roadhouse. The Route 66 Roadhouse is an old metal building painted charcoal gray with red gutter and fascia. Stewart could see himself in the mirrored front door as he approached. The deep red floor looked slippery, as it was so clean, and the red neon surrounded the bar. Sheryl looked around for the lieutenant, but didn't see him. She figured he was running behind. She pointed out a round table near the billiards with a round red vinyl and chrome stools. They sat, and a young lady named Sarah introduced herself. Sheryl said, I know you. You're Sakari. You're Hania's niece. Hi, Aunt Sheryl. How you been? I'm so sorry to hear about Uncle Henry. Thanks. Me? I'm fine. This is my brother Stewart. He's from back east. Got to show him all the hot spots. How long you been working here? Well, not more than a month. My youngest just turned 2, so it was time I found a good job. Did you ever think maybe about working in the clinic? I thought about it. Are they hiring? Should be. Trisha's going to stop working. Maybe you can get her job. I'll look into it. Oh, look, Officer Sam's here, Sarah responded. Yes, the lieutenant is here to see us, Sheryl responded. Hi there, Sam. What y'all want? Hi, Sarah. I'll have a kill the keg pint, said Sam. Stewart answered, water for me for now. I'll have a kill the keg pint, too. Right, Sheryl said. Indeed. Perfect. Give me a pint, she said with a wink. Lieutenant, allow me to introduce you to my brother, Stewart. Hi, Stewart, he said, reaching his hand out for handshake, continuing, I'm Sam Chi. You can call me Sam if you'd like. Thank you, Sam. Pleasure to meet you. Sheryl, how you been? It's been good to see you. It's good to see that your brother's here now. Me? I've been better. Gonna move back to Jersey. I still have family there. Stewart and I are gonna rebuild some things. Yeah, it's good for him to be here now. Except we got a problem. So I heard. Uh-huh. Gonna let Stewart tell you all about it. He turned to Stewart and said, Don't get me wrong, son. I want to hear all about it. but I haven't had anything to eat and been saving my appetite for the best bacon cheeseburger in the world. So when Sarah comes back here, we're going to order. You got it?" "Yes, sir, Lieutenant." "I thought I told you to call me Sam." "I will." That was a demeaning lieutenant kind of statement, so it demanded the lieutenant response. Stewart said meekly and then began, "I got here almost 3 weeks ago, and I was an angry and mean man. Sheryl mixed up a potion of peyote, said a few prayers, and it helped my attitude. She thought I was leaving sooner rather than later, so she increased the dosage, and that's when she opened my mind to see this guy, Tony." Sarah arrived with the drinks. Sam said, "Have you ever eaten here?" Stewart said no. Sam began, "Well, let me tell you. They have 5 items on their menu because they want to have them as the best. I don't know how they do it, but they have the most amazing chicken quesadilla. Around these parts where people know quesadilla, everyone says it's the best. Bacon cheeseburger will make your eyes spin. It's phenomenal. Hell, I like it all." Sarah says, "He does. I've seen him almost eat the whole menu in one sitting." Stewart said, "I'll try the quesadilla and potato salad." Sheryl replied, "I do love the quesadilla, but today I feel like the Roadhouse Club." "Great choice. Would you like potato salad too?" "Do you really need to ask?" Sheryl said sarcastically. "Sam, you want the usual bacon cheeseburger or an onion roll or Kaiser? With mixed cheese too, right?" Sarah asked. "You know me too well." "Yes, and bow tie pasta." "Got it. Coming right up." Stewart continued. "After Sheryl gave me the peyote, I fell fast asleep and began dreaming. At first, it was like a normal dream. You know the kind of dreams guys have." "Uh-huh, I think so," Sam responded. "Well, I noticed the first night I could faintly smell stuff, and then the second night I could smell and taste, and then on the third night it was like I was there. That was the night that Tony killed those people." "Now, how do you know they were killed?" "The official report says it was an accident. I saw it all. On the second night, we watched the family. We went to a pizza place. I could taste pizza. It was so weird. I could actually taste the pizza. Tony burned his mouth, but I didn't feel it. Anyways, we sat and we watched them. We went back and we waited outside their home to see what time they went to bed. Oh, I almost forgot. Before we went to the pizza place, after they left the home, we went inside the house. He, or we, looked around. He, Tony, had a key, and he knew the alarm code. We checked out the bathrooms, the kitchen, the windows. Then we went back to the pizza place." "Back to the pizza place?" "Right. Tony followed them to the pizza place, watched them go in, and then backtracked to the house. Once finished at the house, we went and watched them at Giuseppe's. They finished eating, left. We got back to the house and just watched until the lights went out. The next night, we waited until the lights went out. After an hour or so, we went in. Tony had a gas mask, a tranquilizer dart gun, and a propane tank. He blew out the pilot light and turned the gas on. Then he went upstairs, shot the boy, then the girl, then the mom, and when he got to the dad, he shot him, but only left the dart in for a few seconds, so he was conscious." Sarah arrived with the meals. She served Sheryl first. She looked at the stack of meat and toast and smiled. Then she set Stewart's quesadilla down. He inhaled and could smell the chicken and the spices. The tortilla was golden and spotty from the grill. When Sarah put down the cheeseburger, Stewart eyed it up and down. Sam looked at him and said, "Hey, man, this is mine. You got the best thing on the menu with the potato salad. Just wait." Sarah giggled and asked, "Anything else?" Sam said, "Another round." Sarah responded, "Are you off duty?" He snapped back, "Are you my mother?" They both laughed, and she walked away. Stewart was very pleased with the quesadilla. On his last bite, he said, "Shall I continue?" "Damn, son, you ate that quick." "Please do. Yeah, go ahead," Sam responded. Stewart started up. "It was really good. I couldn't put it down." "Didn't I tell you?" Sam said. "You did. And the potato salad? Who knew potato salad could be so good?" "Okay, here we go again." Tony put the gas mask on the man, connected to the propane, and turned it on. He looked right in the guy's eyes. I couldn't believe it. I saw the guy struggling in his head, but he was unable to move. Tony said, "The boss hired me to kill you and your family because you took from him." The guy died right there. I watched him die. It was terrible. Then Tony did the mom. The rest were asleep, so they didn't suffer. I could tell. He was about to rape the girl, and then we smelled gas, so we left. A few minutes later, he shot a flare gun through the window as we drove past, and the house exploded. Tony drove a few blocks, ditched and torched the car. The next day, yesterday, I told Sheryl about my real dream over breakfast and some Bloody Marys, and she looked it up. Sure enough, it was real. Sam, I remember all the details. That is quite a story, Stewart. What do you think I can do to help? Sheryl spoke. We were thinking maybe you could guide us as to our next steps, Sam. You see, we didn't think the police officer in Chicago would take Stewart seriously. You're correct, Sheryl. If not for the witnessing your husband's wonders myself, I wouldn't believe it. I'm not sure I do believe it. Stewart, what happened last night? He worked his usual job. He transports organs from what looks like a halfway hospital to other hospitals. Oh, he works at a place like we like to call an organ mill. Most of the time they're legitimate, but sometimes they're not. He took the organs to the hospital. They were expecting him, so I'm thinking it was legit. Last night they didn't have anything to deliver. He complains there's not much action there. He works nights and sleeps during the day. Do you know his name and address? I only know his name is Tony. I've seen his place. It's a high-rise apartment building. I haven't seen the name or address. I don't know his last name. Do you know the boss's name? No, he just calls him boss. I don't have much to give the Chicago police. Maybe you go to sleep and get some more information for me. Sheryl, you got any more of that peyote? I do. I think you should give him some more, so it don't wear off, and get some more details to take to Chicago. Once you know his name and where he lives, I can give that to him. So, you gonna help? Yeah, Sheryl, this looks like a pretty bad guy doing some real bad shit. If Stewart can witness something, or even get a plan in place before it happens, we can maybe catch him and the boss before they kill again. What's next? Stewart asked. Like I said, when you have something, let me know. I gotta go. Where's Sarah? I need to settle up. That's okay. We got this, Sheryl said. Thanks. I'll get the next time, Sam said, getting up. Stewart got up, as did Sheryl. He shook Sam's hand, and Sheryl gave him a hug, and he walked out. They sat back down, and Sarah came over to see if they wanted another drink. Stewart ordered a Bud Light, and Sheryl ordered an Ultra. You know this place has karaoke tonight. Want to hang around and watch a little? Sheryl asked Stewart. Sure. Is it good? You'll have to see for yourself. You already said yes, so we're here for a little while. What do you think of Sam? He seems like a great guy. Why do you ask? He's had some trouble with his wives, and he's been to see Henry a lot for the same peyote as you. That's why I knew he'd understand. The peyote helped. But the difference is, Henry did it right, Stewart said. Yeah. Remind me. I'm sorry this has happened to you. So far, no harm, no foul. Maybe we stop a bad guy from being worse. Good attitude. Okay. The karaoke is starting. You want to sing a song with me? Are you crazy? I'm not going to get up and sing. What song, by the way? How about Picture by Sheryl Crow and Kid Rock? That's an easy one, maybe. I've never done karaoke. I haven't sung since the 3rd grade when I was kicked out of Catholic choir by Sister Marcia. You were kicked out? I was. She said I sang too loud. I was loud and proud. Whatever. Seriously, sis, I sang too loud. A choir can't have anyone singing louder than the rest. Okay, so we're doing this, she asked. Really? You want me to sing with you? Yes. I'm going to put our name in. 2 beers and some laughter and clapping later, it was their turn. Melissa, the karaoke hostess, brought them a microphone. She smiled and repeated the song they were going to sing. The music started, and Stewart started singing softly. Living my life in a slow hell, a girl. Of course, I can't sing. A crowd cheered at the tone and pitch of his voice. Sheryl came in with her parts, and the two delivered a nearly flawless rendition of the song to cheering and applause. A few people even whistled. As they sat down, Sarah brought 2 more beers. Sarah said, These are from those folks over there. She pointed. They waved. Sheryl and Stewart waved back. She mouthed, "Thank you." Stewart had never felt so appreciated. He thought of another song to sing alone, and he went up and gave him a list of the song. He came back smiling. "What's with the smile?" "You should have heard that karaoke girl. She said we did that song better than anyone that she'd ever heard, and she's been doing this for over 20 years. I told her I wanted to do another song. I asked for Hard to Handle by the Black Crowes. I hope it works out all right. This is fun, isn't it?" "It is. I've never had so much fun. Thanks, Sheryl. You certainly have opened up my world. I'm glad. You know, even though yous guys left me high and dry, I never stopped loving you." "I'm sorry about that. And for the record, I never stopped loving you either. I just didn't know how to show it." The roadhouse was starting to thin out. Stewart had sung 3 songs, and he could see Sheryl was fading fast. He offered to drive home, and she insisted, so he did. She passed out on the way back. He helped her out of the Jeep and down the stairs. The clinic would be closed until afternoon, since it was Saturday, and so they could both sleep in. He took her to her room, and she fell on bed. He took off her boots and rolled her under the covers, clothes and all. He turned around, stopped, and looked back and smiled. He had gotten his sister back. He turned the light out, closed the door, and headed to his room. Once in his room, he disrobed and climbed into bed. He laid there for a minute and then thought, peyote. He got up, went to the kitchen. He had some peyote without prayers and headed back to his room. Back in bed, he was asleep instantly. Okay, I'm dreaming, and I really need to pay attention. Where am I? Surprise! It's 10 at night on a Friday, and I'm in a bar in Chicago. I'm in a booth away from most people. I'm looking down at my, Tony's phone. Oh, playing that game again. Look up, Tony, look around. Nothing. What's up with this guy? He's adapted my personality. The music in this place isn't all bad. Got a little Bon Jovi Living on a Prayer playing. That's good. That's cool. I just noticed I have no peripheral vision. I can only see straight. Good, the game's over. This is a dark place. Dance floor to the left with a bunch of people dancing. Oh, it's a band doing that song. Lots of pretty people. I wonder why Tony's alone. Is he meeting someone? Nice song. Hey, 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 whoa, don't you? The band's pretty good, but I can't sing. At least not this way. Sorry, folks. Is that Jen? It is. She's with another guy. That's why he's alone. Tony's sad. Jen is looking really hot. Dude, you made a mistake. I think he knows it. Look at her over there. She's shaking her moneymaker. You should leave. Tony, you should get out of there. Oh, we're getting up. Walking to the door. Did I do that? Did I influence him to leave? Scratch your head. Scratch your face. Come on, Tony, scratch your face. Come on, listen to me. Scratch your face. Okay, nope. You're not going to do it. I guess I didn't influence you after all. Tony, you passed Jen by without even a look. Oh, I have peripheral vision now. I can see some out of the edges of your pupils. Nice. Looking around much better now. Well, not much to see out here. Look back, Tony. I want to see where we were. Come on, look back. No? All right. Where are we going? Taxi? Okay, good. We're not driving. Where to? The cab driver asked. Polecats, Tony answered. Gotcha. Are you in town visiting? Tony didn't answer. I wonder what Polecats is. Polecats. Sounds like a strip club. Yeah, it has to be. Why didn't Tony answer him? That's rude. This is a different side of him. I wonder if we're trading personality traits. Cool, he's becoming me, and I get his good ones. Wait, I don't want to become a hitman. Sheryl did say I was becoming more confident. I wonder what that looks like. Yeah, here we are, Polecats, a strip club. $11.50, the cab driver said. Tony handed him a 10 and a 5 and waited for the change. He took the bills and said, keep the change. The driver said, well, thanks, buddy. Then he drove away. Tony walked up to the door. The doorman opened it and said, Tony, how you doing? Good to see you, pal. We got a great lineup tonight. From L.A., we have Diana Latiz on the main stage at midnight. Our cover tonight is $20. She's worth it. Come on in. Tomorrow night, Veronica Weiss will be here. Word has it, she might show up tonight. Ask Jeff to introduce her to you, if she does. Tony paid the $20 and went in the club. He looked around for a place to sit. The main stage had all the seats taken up, and so Tony found a table a few rows back. It was situated between 3 stages, so he could turn and look in either direction. I don't know why you bring us here. This is like window shopping when the stores are closed. Ugh, the music right now is terrible. I'm so bored. I suppose there are worse things we could be looking at, like the Cubs or the Blackhawks playing, or basketball. Yeah, I hate basketball. The music changed to big band, and the lights fell, except for the lights over the main stage. From behind the curtain, there was activity. The first layer of curtains was opened, and a shapely silhouette stood with her hand above her head, one arm slight and the other bent to touch the crease in her elbow. The opposite leg was slightly bent and the other one straight. She began to slowly move. She was swaying her hips, exchanging leg positions. Her bent arm seemed to be stroking the straight arm. She stroked a few times until she reached the other hand, and together they fell in front of her. The light behind her extinguished, as did the lights above the stage. Only one light was on the stage. It was an uplight at the opening of the curtain. It was very dim, and she was only slightly visible. Her clothing was shimmering in the dim light as she swayed to the music. Her features and skin were still undistinguishable. She moved forward a half step on every fourth beat of the big band music as the light grew ever so slightly. Her face and skin were only slightly exposed, and then there was an explosion. The stage seemed to blow up. Lights flashed everywhere, but she didn't move. She had fallen into a heap on the floor. She was engulfed with light on her back. The music went silent. One single light above her now showed her. The music began again, slower from the start and increasing in speed, and she added movement. She lifted her head to reveal her face. She began waving her arms and her hands to the music as her body lifted from the floor. The light followed her from above, embracing those areas that protruded. Her eyes were hidden, her breasts were lit from above, the parts of her waist had light. The tempo of the music increased, as did the volume, and with a single movement, she jumped, opened her legs, and put her arms straight out. All the lights came on. She was certainly a sight. She was the body of Carmen Electra and the strength of Gal Gadot, the lips and eyes of Angelina Jolie, all in one package. Her long, white sequin dress lasted through the first song. During the second song, it was removed to show her curves. Her muscles were toned but not overtoned. She was fit without being muscular. Her skin was smooth, and the youth had yet to escape from her face. Her long brown hair was shaken every which direction as she pranced around the stage, occasionally stopping to drop her hair onto a man's lap. She would brush it over his face, and he would smile and throw money. This went on for 3 minutes, and then the song changed. A more provocative song began playing, and off came her bra. There seemed to be a gasp in the crowd. Men who waited for these breasts were delighted by the natural appearance and shape. Now, as she approached men, she would tug at them and wave them. More money hit the stage floor. She had but one more garment to remove. There were men lined up all around the stage waiting for the prize. The song changed. It was time. She put her thumbs under each side of her panties. She bent down and shook her hair to the right as she contorted her body to the right, and then she looped her head in a circle. She moved and planted both feet slightly apart and repeated the move with her head. She stopped in the center, head down, and flung her hair back. She brought her feet together and then pushed her thumbs down to the middle of her hips. She opened her legs again and swung her head around and around in a circle 2, 3, 4 times. The crowd was fixed by her hair, not noticing that the panties had dropped to the floor. The music stopped. She stood in a star position, feet apart, arms out. She was completely nude. Applause was rampant. Whistles, screams, hoots, and hollers as she stood in her position. Flashes of the cameras continued. The music began again, and she danced off the stage, back through the curtains and out of sight. A helper came out and collected the cash on the stage, and the DJ announced she would be back for another session soon. Damn, that was fantastic. My heart is racing. I've never seen a show like that. Oh, we're moving. Tony, did you notice the door said private? Tony, how the hell are you? A man in a black suit behind a desk asked. He got up, came around the front, and shook Tony's hand. I guess we know each other. My bad. I've never been better, Jimmy. How are you? I'm well. Is there something I can do for you? You got to introduce me to that Diana chick. I expected you'd say that. She's available for $500 for 15 minutes or $5,000 for an hour. It's by appointment, and as you might expect, the level of service varies based on the time. The 15-minute is on-site, and the 5,000 is off-site at the end of her shift. I already have 2 one-hour appointments. Would you like for me to put you on the list? Yes. Oh, yes. Please, come on, dude. Have you ever met a sexier woman? Come on, it's only money. I want to meet her first and see if up close is as good as what I saw from a distance before I commit. You can do that. Thanks. When? Now. Great, let's go. Sure, $500. Seriously, Jimmy? You know me, right? But still, that's her rate, and you get 15 minutes. You get a preview. What about the touch policy? She will put your hands where she allows. You'll be in private, and we have cameras in the room. You can only do what she allows. It's her domain. So if she likes you, you will know. Do it, Tony. Do it. Do I pay you or her? You pay her assistant, her manager, her bodyguard. If you do something she doesn't like, he's going to kick your ass. He might try. Tony, don't do anything disrespectful. It's only $500. Got it, Jimmy. Let's go. Go out to a table. I'll have Celeste come and get you when she's ready. Oh, boy, Tony, this is amazing. You go, boy. Okay, we wait. Oh, I can wait. Look at your watch. I want to count the minutes. 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi. This is going to take forever, Tony. Watch the other girls. That'll take my mind off what's about to happen. Oh, look, Tony, come on. She's looking at the table. What are you thinking? Celeste came to get Tony. She led him down the hall past the girls half-dressed to a door marked green room. Once inside the door, he could smell her before he saw her. What is that delightful aroma? Where is she? Oh, a room divider. Japanese-looking flowers and tigers. I always think of those together. Where's the dragon? Yeah, dragons, tigers are besties in Japan. A voice from behind the divider began. Have a seat, darling. I'm putting on something delicious for you. Delicious? Wow, I'm so excited. I wonder if I'm erect. Me? I probably am. Is he? She stepped out from behind the divider. Oh, my God. Look at her. She stood in a silky red negligee that was tight where it needed to be. It was lace around her breast, exposing her areola and nipples in view. She was wearing red stilettos. Seductively, she sauntered over to Tony. She put her hand out and said, "So you're Tony?" Tony took her hand, kissed it, and said, "Yes, ma'am, I am." "We only have a few minutes to get acquainted," she said with a soft voice in his ear. As her hand trailed from his chest to his side while she was circling him, her hand continued to the small of his back, giving him a chill, and then back up to his left shoulder. She kissed his neck and whispered, "Do you like what you see?" Then trailed to the front of his shoulder, to the center of his chest. She put her hands flat on his chest and then leaned forward and licked his neck on the left side to the center, and then over to the right, where she whispered, "Are we going to spend some more time together, sweetie?" Then she pushed herself back, leaving her hands on his chest, extended her fingers, and lightly slid them down to his belly, to his belt, where she stopped and slowly looked up at him. "Yes, I'd like that, Miss Diana. Oh, honey, just call me Diana." "Shall I give you a preview of what's to come?" Tony moaned affirmatively. She unbuckled his belt, undid his button, slid the zipper down, and pressed inside of her hand against his flat belly. Under his brief, she slid her hand to his semi-erect penis. She pulled it above the lowering briefs and squatted down in front of him. She could see what was in store for her. She looked up at him, looking down, and she smiled. This is a pretty one. Her ruby red lipstick was dry, and then she licked her lips in a circle, making them wet. Their eyes were connected as her closed, puckered lips began moving close to the tip of his head. The erection was growing as she got closer and closer. She backed up to see the length, looked back in his eyes, and smiled. Can I have this? Tony nodded. She looked at it again and slightly opened her lips. She moved closer and then softly touched her lips to the tip. Tony nearly fell over. She moved closer, taking the head in her mouth. He could feel her tongue doing circles around it. Then she moved even closer, taking some length into her mouth. Half of him was in her mouth, and then 2/3, 3/4, and it was gone. Her face was pressed full against his belly. She was looking up, but he could not see her. His eyes were closed. Open your eyes. Come on, man. Open your eyes. She put her hands on both hips and held him inside her mouth. All the while, her tongue was circling inside of her mouth. He'd never felt such a thing. She began to hum. Her vibrating throat caressed the head of his cock while her tongue circled. She could feel it begin to pulsate. Tony moaned in pleasure. At the very moment he would explode, she removed him from her mouth and pumped his cum onto her chest until he stopped. His 15 minutes had ended sooner than he expected. She raised his briefs and his pants, zipped them, buttoned them, buckled his belt. She got up, whispered, I hope you'll have more for me later, and maybe we can make it last a little longer. Then she turned and walked back to the divider. Celeste opened the door, and Tony turned around. His shirt tails were hanging out, and so Celeste said, Compose yourself, Tony. Diana said, See you later, sweetie. Then Tony walked out. He nearly fell over from his lightheadedness as Celeste led him back to the main floor. Would you like us to put you on her schedule, or did you have enough? Did you see that? Every bit. She's quite talented, isn't she? So far, from what I've heard, you will not be disappointed. We hear she's worth it. Oh, and she picks the guys. You've been picked. Yes, put me on the schedule. For now, I think I'll have a shot at tequila. Can you make that happen? Patron Silver? Perfect. Celeste was Johnny's girl, and everyone knew it. No one in their right mind made a pass at Celeste, not even Tony. She was a petite blonde with a round butt, oversized breasts, and a thin waist. She might be Kim K's other sister. Her green eyes made her elusive, and she was properly dressed in a skirt and form-fitting, sleeveless top. Her confidence was unwavered as she spoke and walked away. Tony had been temporarily satisfied, while the next candidate was ushered to Diana's room. He didn't get the same treatment and left dissatisfied. The door opened and closed for the $500 meetings, but only Tony was impressed. Celeste returned with a card for Tony, giving him the time and the address. He accepted it and put it into his coat pocket. 11 o'clock, really? We got to wait that long? Tony stood up, walked towards the door and out to the street. He gave the valet a $5 bill and said, Cab, please. The cab pulled up, the valet opened the back door, and Tony got in. He handed the cabbie a card, and off they went. Damn, where are we going? Why didn't you just tell the guy? I need the address. Well, now what? Great, we're closing our eyes. Tony closed his eyes for the 15 minutes it took to drive to his place. Stewart saw nothing. He pulled up to the apartment door. It had begun to rain, so Tony kept his head down. He walked straight to the elevator and up. Once inside his apartment, he set an alarm on his phone for 9 a.m, crawled into bed, and went to sleep. Stewart slept soundly. He woke to the sound of his sister singing. All we do crumbles to the ground, though we refuse to see dust in the wind. All we are is dust in the wind. Oh, oh, ho, ho. Now don't hang on. She must have headphones on. It slips away, and all your money won't another minute buy. Dust in the wind. All we are is dust in the wind. Stewart tapped Cheryl's shoulder as she was dusting. Hey, sis, is there any correlation to you dusting and that song? She laughed and said, "Ironic, isn't it?" He agreed, sat on the couch, and she serenaded him with some more Kansas songs. He closed his eyes and saw darkness. He wished he could be back in Tony's head. "Say, sis, do you think we can do another peyote tonight? It seems every time you do, my senses get stronger." "Yes, of course. But, bro, for now, what do you want to do?" He said, "I want to look at old pictures of you and Hania. I want to get to know the Sheryl you've become." She was floored. Her mouth agape, she tried to formulate a response. Tears filled her eyes, and then she said, "That would be nice." She put down the end dust and the rag and hugged her brother. He held her tight, and she reciprocated until it seemed awkward. At that point, they both let go, and he sat down on the couch. Sheryl left the room for a minute, as Stewart thought of all the hugs he had missed from his sister. She returned with a stack of albums, about 3. She took out the top one and began. "This is before I left Jersey. When I was little, I kept all the pictures I could." For hours they reminisced over the pictures. They laughed, they cried, until they were both hungry. Sheryl made a meal. They talked until midnight, and she gave him more peyote. He went to bed, and when he closed his eyes, there was darkness. He slept. Chapter 11, Another Dream. Stewart's sleep was interrupted by Tony's eyes opening. Tony was in the waiting room at his employer. He was awakened by the receptionist. Tony, wake up. We have some deliveries for you. You need to call the boss. He has more work for you." "Okay, great, thanks. When will they be ready?" "Give us about an hour. Here's the destination," she said, handing him a piece of paper. They were like his last delivery work schedule. Same hospitals, different organs. Final destination was the same. He sat back and he waited. He closed his eyes and dozed off again. Stewart slept soundly. Tony, what's wrong with you?" "I didn't get much sleep." "Sorry, you got it already?" "Yes, it's in the van, marked and ready. Get going. Time is of the essence." He nodded and rushed to the van. The deliveries went off without any issues, and when he was finished, he went back to Acme Medical and switched vehicles. He was on call in the event of another organ donor delivery with an hour to arrive. He wanted to make sure he stayed within the appropriate distance. He met the boss at the diner like last time. Sitting alone for a few minutes, he ordered coffee, black, and a cinnamon roll. The boss arrived with 2 other men who sat in a different booth. He stood up and reached his hand out to shake for the boss, but he ignored the gesture and just sat down. Tony sat, and the boss began to talk. "You did well last time. We needed someone clean, and you're very clean. Nothing to tie us up. My boss has asked me to get you to St. Louis. We have a problem down there. We need you to handle it. You need leave tomorrow. Randall has all the details. He will meet you at I-55 and South Bolingbrook. You know the intersection?" "Yeah, I know it." "We got a construction company there on the outer road. Go there. Randall will meet you. It's next to Denny's, right there off the highway." "Okay, what time?" "Right now, you fuck. Get your ass on the road. Go meet Randall. He's got the details." "Okay, boss, gotcha. I wonder what his problem is." "Oh, yeah, one more thing. You ever heard of Ferguson?" "You mean the town in St. Louis?" "Yeah, Ferguson." "Yeah, boss. That's where you're headed. We got a group of associates that aren't playing fair. You got to show them what fair is. Capiche?" "Yes, sir. I got it." "Good. Finish your roll on the road. You got to get moving. Don't want to keep Randall waiting." "Okay, boss." Tony left the cinnamon roll behind and headed to his Range Rover. He stopped for gas at the nearest station, then arrived at the construction company 10 minutes later. There wasn't anyone on the lot at the construction company. The fence was locked. He drove the Denny's parking lot and he waited. After a few minutes, 2 black sedans arrived at the construction company. One of the cars pulled up to the gate, and the passenger got out, unlocked the gate. Both cars pulled in. Tony left the Denny's and followed them in. He parked near them and got out of the Rover. He walked to the vehicle that the passengers got out of. The driver of the other vehicle opened the door and walked over to Tony, handed the keys, and said, "Instructions are on the seat. Don't open them until you arrive at the Hilton by the airport in St. Louis. Use the Lincoln. You'll get paid when you return." There's enough cash in the envelope for expenses. Don't use credit cards and avoid the interstate highways. Take the back roads from I-55 in St. Louis. No highways once you get there. Got it? Yeah, I got it. Good. Go. Now, go. What are you waiting for? He said with an elevated voice. Tony walked quickly to the Lincoln MKS and climbed into the cockpit. It had brown leather seats, black leather dashboard, and soft blue lighting. Real wood appointments on the doors and the dash, finished mahogany, gave the Lincoln a touch of class. He pushed the start button, adjusted the seat and mirrors, and took off on I-55. Wake up, wake up. I got to tell Sam. I got to wake up and let someone know what's happening. He's going to kill some more people. I need to stop this. Wake up, wake up. Stewart couldn't wake up. He tried repeatedly to no avail. He settled into the boring ride and tried to be unconscious. He was not resting. This really sucks. More than 5 hours passed when Tony arrived at the Hilton Hotel near the airport. Stewart had tried over and over to wake up, but was not able to. The sun was coming up, and Stewart was exhausted. Tony stopped under the canopy, went inside, and met a lovely black woman named Sheryl. Hi, I have a reservation. My name is Stephen Taylor. Yes, sir. I had you checking in last night with a late check-in. Here's your room key. The room's prepaid. The pool's closed for renovations. Our apologies. The exercise room's available with your room key. You here for 2 nights, is that correct? Yes, I presume. Perfect. If you'll sign here, you could be on your way. She handed the paper, and he began to sign Tony. Then he changed to Stephen Taylor. He went back to the Lincoln to park and collect his things. He took the envelope and the carry-on from the trunk and went inside. He nodded at Sheryl and made his way to the elevator. Once there, he selected the 3rd floor, got off the elevator, and walked towards 311 to 321. He opened the door without looking at the number on the door, but Stewart had figured it was room 22. It was a nice room with a mini fridge and a microwave. The bathroom had a jacuzzi tub and a shower. He threw the bag on the bed and went to the bathroom. Ooh, there's that penis again. Why you gotta look at it when you piss? Okay, so you're proud. I guess I would be too. Ooh, gross, what's that smell? Damn, dude, haven't you showered since getting laid with that whore? Come on, clean up, buddy. Tony finished showering in the bathroom. He dropped his towel as he made his way to the bed, collapsing on the king-size bed. He was out instantly. Finally, Stewart could rest. Sheryl had no reason to wake Stewart, so he slept until his body was ready to wake. It was almost 5 in the evening when he woke. Sheryl was not at home, and he made his way to the kitchen. She had gone out and returned after 7 with groceries and met Stewart at the bottom of the stairs. Stewart began, "Hi, sis, where you been?" "I had some errands to run and bought some groceries. Can you help me get them out of the Jeep?" "Sure, I'll go fetch them." Stewart went and grabbed the remaining 5 bags and brought them down the stairs to the kitchen. Together they unbagged them and put the items away. Sheryl asked, "You hungry?" "Nah, I ate a sandwich a while ago." "Did you sleep?" "Yeah, I got up around 5. "Wow, really? What's going on?" "Oh, my God, I almost forgot. Where's my head? Shit, Sheryl, there's another murder about to take place in St. Louis tonight." "Oh, no, really? What should we do?" "I was hoping to get up earlier, and for some reason, I'd completely forgotten about it. We need to tell Sam." "Right, tell Sam. Did you call him?" "No." "I will. Hold on. I'll dial the number. Put him on speaker." "Hello? This is Lieutenant Shee." "Sam, it's Sheryl and Stewart. You're on speakerphone." "What's up, guys?" "Sam, this is Stewart. I need your help. There's going to be a crime in Ferguson, Missouri tonight near St. Louis." "Okay, where and who?" "That part I don't know. You see, Tony got a package and drove a car to the Hilton in St. Louis. He hadn't looked at all the details yet, so I haven't seen it. Right now, he's asleep, or I think he's asleep. He was at 5 this afternoon, 3 his time. If I go to sleep, I won't be able to wake up and give you details." "Well, maybe there's a way. Can you come here?" "What are you thinking?" "I'm thinking if I go to sleep, maybe you can watch me. If I sleep restlessly, or after a few minutes, maybe you can wake me to see if the details of the crime." "That might work. If I call the police in St. Louis, they're going to think we're crazy." "You have to be compelling." "Right. Sure, Stewart. I'm not sure why I believe you, and I believe this sort of shit. Imagine some random cop from the Midwest. Best we do is try. I'll make a call on the way there. You should take some more peyote and go to bed." "That's a good idea." "Yeah. I'll give him another dose and send him to bed," Sheryl said. I should be there within an hour. Don't wait for me. We might miss something. Got it. Okay. Talk soon. Stewart, I have some on the counter. Go ahead. I will. I'm going to lay on the couch. That way you guys can sit comfortably around. That's fine. Stewart took the peyote, laid on the couch. In 5 minutes, he was out. Sheryl sat and watched him, but nothing happened. On the outside of the clinic, there was a doorbell that rings in the living quarters as well as the clinic. It was installed for emergencies so that Hania could care for emergencies after hours when necessary. So when the doorbell rang, Sheryl knew it was Sam. She went up to the clinic door and escorted Sam to the living quarters below. It wasn't the first visit to the living quarters below he had visited after murders of Hania and others. Sheryl and Sam exchanged pleasantries. Sheryl got Sam a drink of water, and they sat chatting, waiting for Stewart to show some reaction. Sam had a notebook, and he wrote down a few notes. He noted the time he arrived. He noted that he was waiting for Stewart to do something, and then he asked, "How long's he been asleep?" Sheryl answered, and he noted the time. And then he asked, "Should we wake him and see what's going on?" "Okay," Sheryl said, and then she tugged at Stewart, but he didn't wake. She shook him, but he didn't wake. "What do you think I should do?" "I say slap him gently." "Okay, here goes." She slapped him, and he came to consciousness. He was groggy, and when his eyes focused, he could see both Sam and Sheryl. Sam immediately asked, "What's happening?" Stewart responded, "Nothing. He's sleeping." "Oh," Sam said, disappointed. Stewart couldn't keep his consciousness and fell right back to sleep. Sam sat back in the chair, as did Sheryl, and they were silent. Sheryl broke the silence by saying, "I guess I'll turn on the TV and we can watch something. Any suggestions?" "No, it's your house, your TV, your choice." Sheryl flipped through the channels looking for anything to keep them occupied. Sam took his phone out and began playing a game. Stewart slept. An hour passed and Sam suggested another slap. Sheryl slapped Stewart again and he rose to consciousness. "What are you seeing now, Stewart?" Sam asked. "I can't believe you woke me then." He was reading the papers. He was looking at the pictures. 4 black men, apparently a gang. One is the leader, a Mike Robinson, goes by Mickey. He's the main target. They crossed the mob, and they're buying direct from the Mexicans. It's supposed to look like a drive-by. He set up a meeting, but you woke me up as I was going to see the place. "Fuck, really? Oh, Stu, sorry," Sheryl said. Sam wrote down the notes, and Stewart continued. "There are a lot of weapons in the trunk of the Lincoln. I got the license plate number. What was it? Shit. I think it was 2 letters with an X and an 874, another number, and then AC, an Illinois plate from Cook County. The car was a Lincoln MKS, yeah, and it was black. The windows are tinted, and Tony isn't alone anymore. There are 3 other guys with him. They have a black SUV, and they rode together. I have not seen the plate on that one. I have seen the guys, though. One is short and heavy. He seems to oversee the 3. They seem to be support guys, like they're all there to deal. And Tony's there to exterminate the black guys. All of them in black suits with white shirts and black ties. It's like the Blues Brothers convention, except no one has a hat. They're at a parking garage waiting. I do know it's an abandoned shopping center parking garage. I think one said Northwest Plaza. Oh, the other 2 guys, Italian-looking, one is tall and big, while the other looks like to be average height and weight. The black guys haven't showed up yet. I saw pictures and got one name, but that's all I got. I should probably go to sleep and see what's going on. Yeah, you should, Sam agreed. Stewart closed his eyes and was out instantly. Sam began, that is really not enough for us to go on. Well, you know the location. Can you alert them and tell them the location? I could, but I'm not going to. I've told them about a crime about to happen and that they should give it credence. They didn't believe you, did they? Not a word. But I'm going to call them back and let them know where it is and when it happens. We'll be right. Sam made the call, explained to the detective on the phone about the circumstances, and the detective took it under advisement. He ended the call and told Sheryl, "I told him. They said they'd send a car around. I doubt they will. I guess we did our part." In St. Louis, the detective asked, "Meyer, who was that on the phone?" "Is it really any of your business, O'Keefe?" "Well, we are partners. Yeah, it kind of is." You won't believe it. Try me. Well, there's this lieutenant in Arizona on a reservation, the Navajo National Police. He had information on a murder about to happen at Northwest Plaza. He said a guy dreamt about it. That sounds far-fetched. How would a guy in Arizona know about a murder at Northwest Plaza? O'Keefe asked. He says some chick gave her brother some peyote, and now he sees this shit in his dreams. Can you believe that crap? Well, we've seen some weird shit in our days, so seriously, I don't put anything aside. Let's take a ride over there and see if there's anything to this call. I think it's a waste of time, but what else we got? Well, we got that drive-by on Lindbergh, and we got the QT robberies, and we have the murder on Bellefontaine Neighbors. Not much going on. No, shut up. Who's driving, Meyer asked. I'll drive. That way you can do the shooting if anything happens. Yeah, because I'm a gunslinger that kills shit every day. They walked quickly to the car and peeled out of the precinct parking lot to Lindbergh Boulevard, headed north to the plaza. Stewart was quickly back to sleep and watching the crime unfold. The three Italian guys stayed behind while Tony took off to an upper parking level. He got out of the Lincoln and waited to hear the car approach. He heard faint rap music, and then it got louder and louder. He could tell they had arrived because the music ended abruptly. He got to the Lincoln, started it up, and headed slowly to the meeting. He rolled down the ramp. No one noticed him. The Italian guys had the product in the back of the SUV, and the black guys had a suitcase filled with cash. They were standing at the back of the SUV doing the deal. Tony stopped the Lincoln, opened the door, didn't shut it, took off his shoes, and began walking slowly towards the scene. All 7 men were behind the SUV when Tony opened fire. With an Uzi in each hand, he mowed down the 4 black men. Then he instructed the Italian guys to move the dead guys over to their car. They agreed and began dragging the dead guys. All 3 of them stood over the respective dead guys, and Tony opened fire again, killing the Italians. He threw the cash in the back of the SUV and drove back to the Lincoln. He parked the SUV 100 feet away or so, ran to the Lincoln, took out the rest of the weapons, and ran back to the SUV. One of the weapons was an RPG, and he fired it at the Lincoln and then at the other car. He climbed back into the SUV and headed out of the parking lot. Over the police scanner, O'Keefe and his partner heard shots fired at Northwest Plaza parking lot. They turned on their sirens and stepped on it. They were still 10 minutes away. Tony exited the parking garage and made his way across the empty parking lot to the old St. Charles Rock Road, turned left, and then another left on an acceleration lane onto Lindbergh and headed south. When O'Keefe and Meyer arrived on the scene, it was a fiery, bloody mess. 7 dead and 2 vehicles destroyed and on fire. O'Keefe quickly called Sam. Lieutenant, you were right. The crime just happened. It looks like everyone's dead. 7 guys, right? No, there was an 8th one, Sam said. Shit, where'd he go? O'Keefe asked. I don't know. My guy's asleep watching it all. Let me wake him and see what's up. Stewart, wake up. We got to slap him. I got this, Sheryl said. Sam giggled and said, you're kind of getting some pleasure out of this, don't you? No, not really, Sheryl said, lying and smiling. They did it. He did it. Tony shot them all. He's on the run. I think he's headed south on that main 4-lane road. He's in a black SUV. Sam relayed the information to O'Keefe. O'Keefe and Meyer jumped back in their car and raced out of the parking lot across the same path as Tony and out onto Lindbergh. Meanwhile, Tony had turned east on Page Avenue and then pulled into the courtyard of Marriott's parking lot. There was a Toyota RAV4 waiting. He parked next to it, opened the back, emptied the contents into the RAV4. He placed an incendiary device in the back seat that had a timer set for 15 minutes and headed back to Page Avenue. He went north on Lindbergh to the airport. He parked the car in long-term parking and took the cash and his carry-on. Once inside the airport, he found the lockers. He put the suitcase in the lockers, locked it, and went to the gate to fly back to Chicago. Stewart saw none of it. He was awake. Tony sat, waiting for his flight. He opened the burner phone and called the boss. Tony, is it done? It is done, boss. Did you take your cut? No, sir. I left it in the locker. Okay, good. Come by and I'll pay you. Oh, and Tony, excellent job. You got them all, right? Yes, sir. All the rats in the hen house. Now the chickens are fine. The chicken feed is in the Toyota. Number A34 47. It'll be a long time, won't it, Tony? Yes, sir. Long-term goals for sure. Thanks. See you later. Yes, sir. Thanks for the business. You're welcome. Bye. Tony bent the phone backwards until it snapped. He rose from his chair and went to the bathroom. On the way, he dropped the phone in the trash. No one saw him. O'Keefe cried to Sam, "Where is he now?" "I can't tell you. Stewart is awake." "Tell him to go back to sleep." "Okay, I will." Stewart closed his eyes but didn't fall asleep. His heart was racing. His head was hurting. Sam and Sheryl sat patiently. Stewart kept opening his eyes. Finally, Sam said, "Can we give him some more peyote?" Sheryl answered, "We can try. I'm not sure what he'll do or if he'll ever wake up again. I've never doubled up on the dose. We got to try something. Stewart, can we try some more peyote?" "I'm game. We have to catch the guy." Stewart ingested the peyote and fell into a deep sleep. Sam called O'Keefe in St. Louis and told him Stewart was asleep. "Did he say anything else? Does he know where he went?" "No, nothing. Last he saw, he was on a 4-laned road headed south." "Well, we just got a report of a black SUV that exploded nearby at a Marriott parking lot. 3 people driving by were injured." "It might be the truck." "I'm sorry, he didn't see that. We woke him up." "Great. Can we give him a little time, wake him up again? Maybe we can get some clues." "Sure. I'll give him 5 minutes." "Looks like we're at the airport." "My guess, we're headed back to Chicago." "Yes, we are. Southeast Airlines flight number 2272. "Okay, guys, wake me up. Come on, wake me up." Sheryl and Sam tried to wake Stewart. He would not awaken. He was limp and his breath was weak. Sheryl was worried she may have overdosed him. She slapped him, put water on his face, shook him, but nothing worked. "Can I talk in my sleep?" "Maybe I can ask them in my sleep to wake me." "Great. We're boarding. Seat B26. Okay, no luggage. I'm sitting, eyes closed. Now Tony's sleeping." That was fast. "I guess killing a bunch of people is tiring. I see nothing. I'm just like that sergeant in Hogan's Heroes. I see nothing. Super. I guess it's rest time for me, too." "Could you wake him?" O'Keefe said. Sam answered, "No. The last dose of peyote really did him in." "Okay, well, thanks for your help. If you hear anything at all, please let me know." "You know I will." Sam and Sheryl tried every few minutes to wake Stewart, but nothing worked. Eventually, Sam, tired of his feeble attempts, and decided to leave. "Thank you for your help, Sam." "Sheryl, you helped more than I did. I was just a messenger." "We're all messengers, Sam. You know, if he wakes and you hear anything, let me know." "I will. I'm going to bed. When he wakes, should I call you?" "Good idea. Then we'll call O'Keefe and give them the lowdown." "Yeah. Let me walk you out. I know my way." "I know you do, but I have to secure the door." "Gotcha. After you, my lady," he said. "Thanks again, Sam." They made their way up the stairs, and she locked the door behind him. She went down the stairs and looked over at Stewart, snoring away on the couch. She went down the hall to the closet, took out a blanket, and went back to cover him. He didn't move a muscle. She returned to the hall and into her room. She left the door open, shut her clothes, put on a T-shirt, and climbed in bed. She thought for a minute about the day's events until she was fast asleep. Tony slept until the plane began to descend. His ears began to hurt, and he opened his eyes. He looked around and stretched his jaws, opening his ears. His eyes closed, and he was back to sleep. The plane landed, and the noise level increased, waking Tony. "Looks like we're here. Midway or O'Hare?" "Oh, Midway. Wake up." "That's right. The peyote's super strong, and I'm not waking up until this wears off. I guess I'll just watch and learn." "What's next, my murderous host?" "You go ahead. I'll just narrate my journey in your head. I think I need a drink. Hey, Tony, you thirsty?" "Oh, look, we're stopping in the shop. Water? Really?" Was that the power of suggestion? I wonder. Oh, is he thirsty? Drinking before paying? Paying? He's a criminal, right? Will he pay? Yes. Okay, we're paying. Yeah, Milky Way bar too. Yummy. Oh, here's something. I get to eat fancy, delicious food and not gain weight. Go for it, Tiger. Let's have 2. Wait, he's going back for another. Maybe this power suggestion is working. And we're opening it before paying. Okay, holy cow, that is good. Man, this peyote has heightened my senses. Best candy bar ever. Hey, cool, we paid. I feel high. I'm sleeping. I'm watching this douchebag through his own eyes, and I feel high. I wonder if he feels high. Shouldn't he be like I am? Who knows? Hey, Tony, let's go pee. Okay, then. We're going pee. That's 3 for 3 in the power of suggestion arena. Or was it just coincidence? I guess guzzling the water made us have to pee. Damn, I'm seeing his penis again. Why does he have to look at it all the time? Yep, zip, wash, no wash. What's wrong with you? Yeah, buddy, we're eating the second Milky Way. Ooh, we didn't wash our hands. Yuck, really, dude? Piss on your fingers and yuck. Well, it still tasted awesome. I love me a Milky Way. Over that way. That looks like the exit. Oh, uh-huh. He's listening. Cab? Of course a cab. Take I-55 to South Bolingbrook Road. There's a Denny's there. That's where I'm headed. The cabbie responded, you bet. Then off they went. Another boring cab ride. Yeah, we're looking around. Looks like we're leaving the city. Oh, cool. Toon Blast. Pick that one. No, pick that one. No, you're not listening. You lose. Oh, yeah, let's play again. Super. Can I please see something else? No, Toon Blast it is. A half an hour and several lost games later, they arrived at Denny's in Bolingbrook. Tony paid the cab driver, and they walked into Denny's. He was seated. His server came over immediately, a 40-something heavy-set woman with dirty-looking brown hair. She smiled and asked, what you want to drink, sugar? Coffee and a grand slam, eggs scrambled, bacon and blueberry syrup, please. I love it when he eats. I get the taste without the calories. Yum, I always forgot about blueberry syrup. The server brought the coffee. Tony nodded in approval. She didn't smile. Under her breath as she walked away, she said, you're welcome, asshole. Tony didn't hear her. I heard her. She's right. This guy is a #1 asshole. Better be careful, Betty. He'll put a cap in your ass. That's okay. She's likely to spit in his food. Oh, here she comes with it. Here you go. Is there anything else I can get for you? More coffee, please. Right away. It looks fine. Hot, smells good. Pancakes first. They always get cold fast. Ah, yeah. That's good. Blueberry syrup. Wow, this is good. More syrup. Attaboy. I love it when he listens. Ooh, that's good. Don't wolf it down. Slow down. Come on, Tony. Where you got to be? Pancakes gone. Bacon gone. Eggs gone. Okay, we're done here. Tony threw a 20 on the table and walked out. The servant came over to the table, hurried, saw the 20, smiled, and relaxed her shoulders. She watched as Tony walked to an empty parking lot across the grass to the construction company gate. She moved closer to the window and kept watch as he opened the gate, walked to the Range Rover, got in, started it, and drove back to the gate. She saw him lock the gate and drive away. I wonder if police in Chicago would be interested in the fingerprints in the back of that lock. I need to tell Sam about this. In the meantime, let's drive back to the city. We should be home in about an hour and in bed. Let's go, champ. It was after 3 a.m, and there were only a few vehicles on the road. Tony sped past an unmarked highway patrol car. He looked in his rearview mirror, and a light came on. He wondered where his arms were. He did an assessment of what his reaction should be, and then he pulled over. The trooper stopped and exited the car. He slowly came up to the driver's side with his hand on his pistol. Tony put his window down, and the trooper said, "Good morning, sir. Do you know why I pulled you over?" "No, sir, I don't." "Did you know the speed limit on that stretch of I-55 is 55 miles an hour?" "No, sir, I thought it was 65. "Then why, sir, were you doing 83? "I want to get home to bed, sir." "Okay. Well, we'll work on that. May I have your license, insurance card, and registration, please?" "Of course, here you are." Tony handed them to the trooper. "Thank you. I'll be back with them in a few minutes, but first, do you have any firearms in the vehicle?" "I'm not sure that's relevant, but no, I don't believe in firearms." The trooper took a flashlight and shined it in the back of the vehicle. "Then I suppose you won't mind me searching the car." "I didn't say that. Where are you coming from?" Looking at his license. "The Denny's down the road." Mr. Palumbo, if you don't mind, you live about 20 miles from that Denny's, and you probably pass 4 on your way home. Why is it that you would go to that one? A friend works there. Do you know Betty? No, sir. I do know most of the wait staff there, and there's no Betty. Might there be another reason you chose that Denny's? He said, unlatching his gun. The truth is I call her Betty, but her name is Melissa. You might know her. She's a little heavy, brown hair, and calls everyone sugar. We went to high school. I worked nights delivering organs, and I had to go visit a friend in St. Louis. I flew back tonight. She had my car, so I took a cab there. I had some breakfast, and now I'd just like to go home and go to bed. So if you're going to give me a ticket, please do it so I may be on my way. Mr. Palumbo, I'm going to ask you to step outside the car. Keep your hands where I can see them. Why? Well, Mr. Palumbo, there's no Betty or Melissa at that Denny's, so there's no way anyone there would have kept your car when you were at the airport. The airport is out of the way of the Denny's compared to where you live and likely where you work. Your behavior is agitated, which tells me you're not being truthful to me, and your job does not seem to reflect the type that would allow you to own such a vehicle. I haven't run the plates on this car, but I suspect it's stolen. So far, your lies tell me you won't be telling me any truths. Now, I asked you nicely to exit the car with your hands where I can see them. Officer? Tony started. Then it was interrupted. It's Trooper. Okay, Trooper. If you'll just run the plates, you'll find the car belongs to me. I just flew in on the red eye. I'm very tired and maybe confused. There's no reason to ask me out of the car. The trooper called the license in and asked for backup at his location. Then he waited by the rear of the car for information. The dispatcher told him the car belonged to Anthony Palumbo, but Stewart didn't hear his address or any other information pertaining. Anthony Palumbo had no record. His driving record was clean, as was his history. The trooper wondered why Tony would lie, so he gave him one more chance. He walked up to the back of the driver's door. Tony had taken his 9mm out and was sitting on his lap. The trooper said, "Okay, Tony, I'm going to give you one more chance to tell me the truth. Tell me the truth." "Just shoot him, officer." "I just came from Denny's, and you're right. I don't know the waitress there. A friend took me to St. Louis, and I left my car at the construction company next to the Denny's. I flew back from St. Louis on a flight 2272. That's right. I arrived about 2:30. I took a cab to Denny's, where I had something to eat, a Grand Slam with blueberry syrup and coffee. I got my car out of the gated lot. I had the combination. And now I just want to go home and go to bed. Just shoot him, officer. He's a murderer. He's got a gun, and he'll shoot you if you give him a chance. Now, was that so hard? Why did you lie? I'm really tired, and I didn't want to go through all this discussion. Can we just get this over with? You know, I can arrest you for doing 20 over the speed limit. Okay, then do that. Well, since there's nobody really on the road and your record's clean, I'm going to let you go for a ticket for 74 and a 55. Give me a minute to write it up. Seriously, man, we can nail this guy, and you're letting him get off. Shoot him. He's a really bad guy. The trooper wrote the ticket, gave it to Tony to sign. Tony signed it. He gave Tony a copy, and he went back to his car. Tony sped off at a reasonable speed. He had averted a catastrophe. Tony picked up his cell phone and called the boss. He just spoke, "Boss," into the phone and dialed it. "Tony, you back? I'm on the road from Bolingbrook. Had a delay, but I'm almost there. There's no need to come tonight. I'll have a courier bring your cash by later today after the sun rises. Go home, get some rest. You deserve it. You've been a good garbage man. We'll talk soon." "Okay, boss. Oh, and Tony, can you call me by my first name?" "Thanks, boss. I'm going to leave it that way if you don't mind." "I don't," he said, and ended the call. Tony set the phone down and continued driving. He arrived at his parking garage without looking at the front of the building. He got into his apartment without looking at the door number, and Stewart still had no idea where he lived. Tony got to his bedroom, dropped his clothes from the door to the bed, and was asleep after 3 sighs. Okay, now I need to wake up. I need to tell Sam Tony's last name. Come on, wake up. I can't. I need rest. Stewart lost full consciousness. That was chapter 10 and 11 of Mind Sharing by Michael O'Doran. Join us in our next episode for chapter 12 and on.